Welcome back to another video, and it's going to be an interesting one today because we're talking about the Cricket Legends tournament that's taking place at the moment. And you're joined by both Dev and Jay, as usual. And hi, Jay, how are you doing? Have you been watching the Legends series? It's been pretty good viewing, I thought.
Yeah, how's it going, Dev? Yeah, it's been quite interesting, isn't it? Sort of reliving the, previous childhood and things like that, isn't it? So, yeah, I'm quite surprised with all the performances, considering their ages. So yeah, it's been quite good.
Yeah, exactly. I've really enjoyed it because a lot of these, like say, these teams, they're all from, the players are all from the era that we're renowned to have understood as well. Because just looking through some of the players already, people like, well, India are top on there at the moment, and for India, the players, obviously Yuvraj Singh doing very well at the moment, isn't he? And there's loads of players actually for India that could have made it into the team, and they're not in there at the moment.
Well, yeah, today the match was the first semi-final, wasn't it? So, yeah, India knocking out West Indies, and yeah, all the legends. I mean, there are a lot of players, but then you got Tendulkar, Lara, and Sehwag and Yuvraj. So there's four players that you still want to watch in this present day, isn't it?
Yeah, there's some of these players who probably make it still in these respective countries because the way Tendulkar's batting, you probably think they could still play. And Yuvraj Singh's been in good form, hasn't he, throughout the series? Scoring 50s and loads of sixes all over the place.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, even Yusuf Pathan and Yuvraj and Irfan Pathan, they could probably just get into the T20 team against England, really, to be honest, at this rate, isn't it? And then, I mean, you got Brian Lara is probably at 50, but Chris Gale's 42 nearly, so can't see why Brian Lara can't make a return to the West Indies team, can you?
No, exactly. Exactly. I know it's unbelievable. And it is interesting, isn't it, that how good some of these players are still. And they don't lose their timing at all. Because Yuvraj Singh, the other day, I was watching him, that I think he was playing against was it England? Maybe against England, or no, not England. It was against South Africa, and against South Africa, he was doing really well. He had quite a few sixes, and timing was spot on still.
Yeah, Yuvraj, I mean, every time I watch him comment, it's either, four sixes in an over, five sixes in an over. It's like, reliving the 2007 T20 World Cup and Stuart Broad being annihilated, isn't it? So Yuvraj, I think Yuvraj is still, he's just quite, he's quite young still, isn't he? In that respect, like still about 38, 39. So Dhoni retired when he was about nearly 40, isn't it? So yeah, I think it's a bit unfair for this sort of Indian legend teams to pick someone like Yuvraj, who's still sort of, has something to offer this
Well,
actual national team.
yeah, that's a good point because some of these players have. There's a big kind of difference between the age of some of these players and the respective fitness because, like you say, Raj is relatively young, and so is someone like Yusuf Pathan, really, and potentially even somebody like Irfan Pathan as well for India. But some of the other players, like maybe somebody like Tendulkar, really, or Sehwag, or arguably maybe somebody like I don't know, maybe Manpreet Goni, someone like that. Some of these players aren't as match fit, maybe, are they? So I'm not sure how they work out the ages, but you're right. There's a big difference. I think it's more probably drastic with some of the other teams because look at South Africa, for instance. They've got people like Telemarcus and Tini who are very much old household names, but they also have people like Zondeki and Alvaro Peterson. So yeah, big age differences. What kind of age do you think they should have for this? Do you think they should have people in their 40s or?
Yeah, because yeah, as a legend, but Antini's only 43. Let's not forget. I mean, he's probably would have played a high level of cricket about 5 years ago. So I think between 40 and 50 should be the right ages for this competition, and I think that would be fair, isn't it? I mean, yeah, I think India have just sort of bypassed some sort of untold rule or something like that.
Yeah. Well, some of these, you're right. Some of these players, it's just crazy, isn't it? How good they still are. But do you think there could be maybe like a different generation of this? So maybe you could have people in their 50s playing, people in their 40s playing. Do you think they could like do that? So you could have a series like this for even older players as well.
Yeah, he could do. I mean, it would be quite funny to see India having Gavaskar at like 75. Yeah, both Gower and the likes had like 60-year-olds trying to play T20 when all they knew was probably, Test cricket and maximum 50 overs.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I would actually still watch it. I would definitely watch it, but
Um,
I think the bowling will be a bit questionable, especially the fast bowling, isn't it?
yeah, I don't mind watching that because the names, like you say, and actually someone like Ian Botham, who knows, maybe he might have some talent for his age, obviously, but he's not going to be diving around on the boundary, jumping up and throwing the ball in, I doubt. But
Yeah, of
yeah,
course. Yeah, yeah. The only fans could just be A&E, isn't it? Really. So, but yeah, I think it's a good idea, really. But yeah, I'm happy with the current format and the selection of players right now. Quite sad that Australia had to leave the tournament because of COVID and all that. But obviously, the Australian legends in this competition would have been, to play the full competition would have been quite phenomenal, isn't it?
yeah, because Australia would have had what Vicky Ponting and stuff like that, Ben McGrath, those kind of players, right? Maybe Shane Warne as well.
Yeah, yeah. Even the lesser players of that time, even like like the Michael Slaters and you know, the Brad Hodges and those players that were good, but obviously not always in the team. So,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
yeah, yeah. And, even Sri Lanka's team is actually quite good compared to what it is now, isn't it? I mean, watching Sri Lanka nowadays is just like, who's that? Who are you? In it sort of. Whereas this team has got the likes of Dilshan, Taranga, Haraf, Murali, Silva, Ranatungan. They got all these players. Atapatu, Russell, Arnold, all the players that we like to watch when we sort of grew up, isn't it?
Yeah, and that was a good point because I was going to come on to that. The actual teams and the players, the standout teams, and Sri Lanka probably is the standout, isn't it? Because of those names.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, they're playing tomorrow on the semi-final against South Africa. So I would favour Sri Lanka to beat South Africa. And yeah, then it to be an India Sri Lanka final once again. But it's surprising that someone like Sangakkara and Jay Alden are not in the team. I mean, that would have been quite interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, and just going through those names again, Upal Faranga, he's a big name as well, and like you say, Shamara Silva, another good player actually they have there, and Bobby's Maharoof as well. Nuwan Kulaseka too. Yeah, so a whole heap of players there, aren't there? Melinda Wanapura as well as there. What about Bangladesh? What do you make of them in this tournament?
I mean, they tried, didn't they? Although they lost all their matches, which is quite similar to sort of their current national team. Unfortunately, yeah, it was just they performed well. They've got like 160 competitive totals and bowled quite well, but it's just like you're playing, bowling against the West Indies with the likes of Laura, like Dwayne Smith and all those Chanderpaul even at the start of the tournament. I mean, yeah, it's not gonna happen, is it? They're not gonna beat them, are they?
Yeah, just going through some of those names for Bangladesh, very, very recognizable names there. Mohammed Rafiq, probably the big standout one because he's captain, isn't he, in this tournament?
Yeah, that's right. He is. Yeah, he's cool. He was quite a decent player. Same with Astab Ahmed, and yeah, surprised that someone like Habibul Bashar and Mohamed Ashraful have not been picked or selected as such. So,
Mm.
but yeah, they got some decent sort of legends, isn't it?
Yeah, and we don't know really if maybe they decided not to bother turning up for the tournament. But you're right, if they could choose those players, they probably should be around. Javid Omar is a good player, isn't he, as well? I can see he's playing in this tournament too. Um, and in terms of the bowlers, I'm just looking through some of the bowlers here, and I can't see that many that were actually kind of renowned names from Bangladesh of our era. Because I can think of people like Tapash Baisia. I don't know if you remember him. He was quite a good bowler actually, Tapash Baisia. And
Yeah,
Abdul Razak, good spinner, isn't he? But not many more there.
yeah,
I can't recognize.
yeah. I thought Abdul Razak was quality spinner for Bangladesh. Enjoy watching him in the World Cups gone by. But not many Bangladesh stand out, is there? I mean, you still got someone like maybe Murtaza, who's like 30, 38, you know, will be in the probably next edition or the one after, and then, you know, even England's team as well, isn't it? England's team is quite an interesting mix. I wouldn't say most of them are legends, but yeah, maybe legends in the domestic T20 format, isn't it?
Yeah, let's have a look at England's team then, because you're right. Some of those players, they're probably not typical names that you think of. People like Phil Mustard, I don't know if I would automatically think him as an England legend, really. Usman Afsal as well. Darren Maddy's in there too. So there's some good players there from our generation, definitely, or previous generation of cricketers, but probably not legends that stand out. But maybe the bowling's not bad, is it? Matthew Hoggard and Monty Panis are there.
Yeah, definitely. Monty Panis is a good pick, especially his record in India's was quite decent. And yeah, Hoggard, didn't really see him as a limited overs cricketer as such, but yeah, he's alright. And then you got the likes of Treadwell, Kabir Ali, and then Chris Tremlett, who's like, he looks like a sort of bodyguard at the moment, isn't
he? yeah, he's changed his career to going to the gym, obviously. But yeah, Jim Troughton's there as well. Not a bad player back in his day. And Owe Shah was quite handy. Handy, wasn't he? Owe Shah, or handy with the bat.
Yeah, definitely. Owe Shah was a good player. He could be reliable at times. And Kabir Ali is in there. That's the cousin of Moeen Ali. For all I do not know that.
The standout was Kevin Peterson in that team, really, at the moment, isn't it?
Captain by absolute country mile, Kevin Peterson. Although he's not got the highest, he's got good amount of runs, but just about in the top 5. So, Peterson's the one, isn't it? That is their best player. Would have been interesting to see some maybe other players as well, some more renowned players, isn't it? But yeah.
Well, in terms of renowned players, is there any that come to mind then, you think, for England?
For England, actually, I was probably thinking of maybe like the Darren Goffs, who were actually really good at 2020. Maybe. Wouldn't mind seeing Alistair Cook coming through, someone like that. And Trescothick, possibly. Players like that, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe someone like maybe some of those players. Trying to think who else really. Maybe Jamie Dalrymple, maybe somebody like that, or Jeremy Snape as well. Remember him, off spinner, going back a while. Somebody like him as well. So yeah, they had some decent choices, but it's funny, isn't it? Because this tournament has turned out exactly the same as what we're used to seeing from back in the early 2000s, isn't it? With like you said, Sri Lanka at the top with India and England kind of struggling along at the bottom, which is what we used to see back in the day, isn't it?
Yeah. This table was literally exactly what it was about 20 years ago, 15, 20 years ago. So yeah, it seems as though there was no flukes or anything like that. Back in the day, it was just all sort of permanent, sort of clause, isn't it?
Yeah.
The players' clause is still there from the
Yeah,
majority of them, isn't it?
absolutely, and it's quite accurate, really. And it's interesting to see how cricket evolved for England, especially because they're probably the best white ball team in the world now. And back with these older players, you can see that they weren't quite up to the standards of some of the other international teams. But yeah, what about South Africa then? What did you make of them so far?
Yeah. South Africa. I mean, I think they could have chosen much more renowned legends, but yeah, the likes of Graham Smith, Callis, Amla, those type of players, but yeah, overall, they've not been too bad with the likes of Johnny Rhodes, Kruger, bowling a decent pace, Antini, Telemarcus, Van Wyk and Alvira Robertson. They're not a bad team, but it's like, when I think of South Africa, I think of the players that were playing all the time, not those that were just in and out of the team like this South African squad, is it?
Yeah, and I think that could be again a bit down to some of those players choosing not to play, because I think of those players like you say as well, like Hallis and Graham Smith, maybe even someone like Jacques Rudolph. To be honest, I thought he was quite good. He probably didn't play as long as he should have for South Africa. I thought Jacques Rudolph, thought he was a very good player there, left-handed batsman, very talented. Herschel Gibbs as well stands out for me, top of the order. He was a great player for South Africa. So I think they have loads of choice South Africa. You can make
I mean,
Lawrence Kuzma as well.
Yeah, they're both in the team actually. To be
Gibbs
honest.
in the team, are they?
Yeah, Gibbs and Kuzma, they are both actually playing in this tournament, but they just rotated all the time.
I see.
So.
Yeah, that's interesting then. So yeah, so it looks as though they are going along the right lines then. So that it seems like they've got most things covered. But what about Sean Pollock? Is he around in this squad?
No, Sean Pollock was not in there. Not even like Alan Donald, even, but he might be too old, isn't it? But yeah, I think they had Boye. They had Nicky Boye as their spinner, which is not a bad choice, is it? So
yeah, I was going to say, like spinners wise, who could they choose? Nicky Boye is probably the best, isn't he? Did they have any others around that time?
No, I don't think so. Maybe the Paul Harris back then, but
Harris, yeah. Was there what's his name? Adams, is it? Was there a guy called Paul Adams or something? No, not Andre Adams. There was another Adams, wasn't there? Left arm spinner.
Yeah, I think it was Adams or Simcox or something like that.
Might be. It was in Adams, but maybe the viewers might know. So let us know if you guys know. He had a very unusual action. You remember? He was left arm spinner and he used to bend down quite a lot. It's hard to kind of describe.
Was that not Paul Harris?
I think Harris was maybe the taller one. I think this one was in Adams. We'll find out maybe from the views. But yeah, lots of choice. Who else could they have chosen for spinners? Because it's interesting, isn't it? South Africans, you don't really think of spinners for South Africa, do you? Naturally.
No, I don't think there was anyone to note, to be honest, back in that era. To be fair, yeah, I think South Africa relied on the likes of Bell, Steyn, Pollock, Donald, Antini, Nel, Philander, but yeah, spinners. Nah, there weren't many of them for South Africa, to be honest.
Nah, they have Shabalala in there as well, don't they, at the moment?
Yeah, Shabalala. Yeah, he's not bad at all. He didn't really play much, did he? In his heyday, but looks like he's improved with age.
Handy player, isn't he? Yeah, looks handy. I suppose batting wise, what about maybe Bwesa Dippenaar? Maybe they could have had him in.
Yeah, Dippenaar would have been a good choice as well. Even Boucher, but I don't. Yeah, I think, but they still have got into the semi-finals. So obviously, it's not been all. I mean, they've got Justin Kemp as well. Who used to be quite ruthless, and they actually do have Ryan McLaren as well, who's quite handy as a 2020 player for Mumbai Indians and the international team, isn't it? So they look like they've got a bit about them still.
Very much so, yeah. So interesting tournament, definitely, and we've been through some of those teams there, and clearly, I don't know, who do you think are the best team then? Who do you have a best team? I think India stand out as a very good team, don't they, in this tournament?
Yeah, I mean, they're quite fortunate to get through to the final that's been playing on Sunday. So, India team is quite phenomenal, really. The bowlers are, decent. You got a World Cup winner in Munaf Patel in there, and then Irfan Pathan's there. So I think India are clearly the favourites, isn't it?
Yeah, I think they stand out with Sri Lanka, I think, as well. I think those two teams are definitely the top and probably deserve to be at the top of the table. It's been interesting and definitely something to enjoy watching on TV in terms of the cricket. I think it's good to have live sport generally on TV at the moment, isn't it? But to have these kind of matches where it's a bit different, unusual, isn't it, to see these old retired players playing, but definitely enjoyable to watch them play, and it's good to see how competitive they are as well, isn't it? Because some of these players, they haven't played for years, but as soon as they're on the field, they have the same mannerisms and the same kind of poses. I think Tendulkar's a good standout because he still has those, kind of little things that he does that he used to do when he was younger, when he was in his playing days.
Same with Sehwag as well. I think like it did in the 2011 World Cup, we're hitting 5 fours on the first delivery he faced. They got off to a fly with a 4 today as well. So obviously and even Laura, if you've seen Laura play, his technique is exactly the same as it was about 10-15 years ago. Exactly the same with those little flick shots and hooks and whatnot. So for those players, I don't see. I mean, you can just tell that they've had that technique since they were young and growing up in it. So it's quite good to see, to be honest.
Definitely, and the standout fielder, there's one guy who stands out above all else. Who do you think he is?
If there's one player, he's got to be Yuvraj, isn't it? At the moment.
I was going to say. Okay, fine. Well, you can say Yuvraj. I've got another one if you're interested to know.
Yeah.
I was going to say John T. Rhodes.
John T. Rhodes. To be honest, his fielding has been quite good, to be honest. I've seen his fielding back in the day, sort of diving around. Even Dilshan is one as well, Tilakaratna. He's quite he just looks like he's picking up from where he left off.
There are some good fielders. Do you remember the Dill Scoop he used to play off the bowlers, quick bowlers?
Yeah, I do remember that. I think we just most recently saw that with Rishabh Pant in the second T20, but that was a crazy innovation, isn't it? Like our viewers would have probably seen, sort of noted in our previous video with Kevin Peterson, who invented the switch hit. Dilshan was the Dill Scoop. This just made cricket much more interesting and exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I think Rishabh Pant has created his own version of it. I think it's just kind of a Rishabh Scoop, I suppose, the way he played against some of the other bowlers the other day. But I haven't seen the Dill Scoop yet. I don't know if you've seen it in the series.
No, I haven't seen him actually play that shot yet. I think, it could just be his age. I mean, probably gonna do his back in, unfortunately.
It's probably Well, yeah, it's probably a bit risky to playing it these days. But
But
who
yeah,
knows? Maybe he's got the talent to, or maybe
yeah.
the way he feels,
Well,
maybe
who
he
knows?
does have fitness. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? It might just be like, six off the last ball in the final or the
Feels
semi-final.
scooped.
He's like, why not? Go
Yeah,
for it, isn't it?
exactly. Yeah, that'll be good to see some of these shots. Definitely. But yeah, it's been good, hasn't it? Watching it. Kevin Peterson's another one actually, fielding wise. I think he's a good fielder, isn't he, in this one?
Yeah, he's been doing quite well. But he's still like 40 years old, right? So he's just literally, he could technically still be playing international cricket, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, he's probably better than what he was when he was actually playing internationally right now.
Well, he's fielding, you mean? Or...
Yeah, he's fielding. Only because his fielding was quite like, I wouldn't say it was outstanding back in the day. To be honest, it was good, but it wasn't like, he wasn't renowned for his fielding, was he?
Yeah, I thought he was quite good in certain positions, Kevin Peterson. I thought he was very good on the boundary, and he was good in the outfield as a fielder. But I think in the slips, do you remember in the Ashes in 2005? I think he dropped a few catches in the Ashes in that series. So everyone kind of thought he was a bad fielder, but I don't think he was that bad really as a fielder. I think he was just certain positions he was better at.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I think probably after that he was forced to field in the boundary because if he went to field at the boundary, he'd probably be substituted, isn't it? For 12 man. But yeah. I think because of boundary, you could say he's quite a tall player as well, isn't he? So he can probably catch the ball and But I think in the slick cordon and them areas, I think he's could have been a bit of a liability.
Yeah, it was probably not his best position, the slips, and some fielders are very good there. That the ones that stay low and stuff. But yeah, I think he was overall quite a good fielder. But yeah, interesting, isn't it? Interesting to talk about all this. We could go on for ages, but I think we've spoken about all the key things, haven't we? Now, all the main points about the series. It's been good viewing, and yeah, it should be exciting finale. Back in India to be in the final. What about you? India Sri Lanka final, I'm going to say.
Yeah, I'm going to go for that as well. But I say that with South Africa closely following by, but I think the Sri Lankan bowlers will outdo the South African batters in the next match semi-final.
Yeah, makes sense, doesn't it? Really cool. All right. Well, yeah, it was good chatting about that, and thanks all for listening and following our channel too, because we have plenty more videos coming up. So do stay tuned, and do comment as well, because it'll be good to hear your thoughts. Thanks again. Cheers.